think about when I think about the resurrected Christ, I think about having confidence to follow him into whatever he may be leading me to do, whether that's something small or something big. I think that when I really boil it down to he is with me and he has planned the steps he has in front of me, it seems like a no-brainer to follow those plans, whether they involve risk or whether they involve a great amount of trust or not. Just because I'm fearful doesn't mean he's any less faithful. And that's something that I try to go back to a lot in my life.
So when we are sure of our salvation because of the resurrection, it's sort of that confirmation, that receipt of that payment that Christ made for us. I think it gives us hope for the future so that when we screw up and when we mess up, we don't have to live in a sense of shame and guilt because it's already been paid. And so I think that hope, in a sense, gives us confidence each and every day that we can trust God, we can continue to go back to him again and again and again, and that's good news.
What I've come to realize is the old adage, you don't realize that Jesus is all you need until Jesus is all you have. That became reality in my life. Out of the blue, I was at home with my husband on a Tuesday evening, and within 10 minutes, he passed away in front of me. I had assurance at that moment that I knew that Mike was in the presence of God. The only way I could have that assurance is because I knew Jesus died in Mike's place, just like he has died in my place. And it was comforting. The very last service that Mike attended here before he passed away, that Sunday on the way home, we looked at one another and we said, isn't it great to know that we are both good to go? Whenever Jesus calls us home, we know we have assurance that we will be with him for all of eternity. So the moment that Mike left me, I knew he was in the presence of God, and that made all of the difference.
The resurrection just shows just how far Jesus went for me. You know, becoming a human was such a big deal, and living the perfect life was such a big deal, but then he died for me, and what a big deal that is, but none of that would have been enough. Like, God didn't stop there. He also rose Jesus from the dead. And I think if God will go that far for me, if he really went that far for me, then he'll go that far for anyone. And I have friends and I have family members who, some of them don't even think Jesus was real. They certainly don't think he really was raised from the dead. And it's so easy to get discouraged and to feel like God's limitations with them are the same as mine. And the resurrection reminds me that Jesus loves them the way that he loves me, and who can be beyond the reach of a God like that?
I think that one of the things that got us through when we lost our boys was knowing that we'd see them again someday, and that there is hope for that future day when we will see them in the kingdom. And I think that's also true for other types of loss, you know, broken relationships or you know, even in fostering and having a child leave your home that's been with you, is trusting that God has them and that they're his children, and that he cares about, you know, every hair on our heads, and so why would he not also provide for those that we care about? And living in that trust helps to make it through when you have no control over a situation.
I'll start this way. The empty tomb gives me a deep, abiding joy that cannot be mined away. When I think of the empty tomb and stand before it, I begin to smile, and then I begin to laugh, a joy-filled laughter. And here's why. Because the tomb is empty, following Jesus is the most satisfying life a person can possibly have, and I wish everyone had it.
We have so many things coming in, like the political situation, the environment, innocent people suffering. Really, no cause of their own, just all the things that this world just feels like it's in an incredible upheaval, turmoil. And if we live by that and we listen to that, we live in despair. I know I do. So the hope of the resurrection just turns that on its head, because that's not where we live. That is not what life is. The reality is we live in hope and new life. And that's enough for me to celebrate not only Easter, but every day. Just in that promise of the hope for the day and hope for the future. That's it.